All right, y'all. Well, welcome back. Welcome to part two of the syllabus saga. All right, so conduct and behavior. So even though we're an online course and we don't have any in-person meetings or Zoom meetings, we're still expected to treat one another with dignity and respect. Just basically be decent, kind human beings. There's no place for rudeness. That's different from constructive criticism. So I don't expect this to be an issue, but it's important that we all just keep that in mind. And because we will be doing a lot of discussion boards and things through Canvas, it's also expected that you all behave with decorum in your online discussion posts and interactions. So just use your common sense, no inappropriate links to images or anything of that nature. So, all right, course communication. So there are a few ways that we will all communicate with one another. The primary way that I'll communicate with you all is through class-wide messages. So in your Canvas inbox, if you notice that there's a little new message kind of indicator on that icon, um, please make sure that you check your messages. It's a good chance that the message is from me, and that's going to be the primary way that I interact with you all, or I let you all know anything if I need to clarify anything or whatever it might be. Now, I might post announcements periodically throughout the duration of the course, but probably only a couple if I do, and those will be displayed on the Canvas homepage. Some other ways that I'll communicate with you all is at the beginning of each module, there'll be a weekly module overview, and that will give a rundown of what to expect in that given week. So the things that we're responsible for completing. Discussion boards, of course, this is going to be the primary way that we interact with one another in the class. So we'll have discussion boards, probably at least one a week. So that will be a way that we can continue to kind of build our online community. Messages and emails. If you send me a message or an email, you can generally expect a reply within 24 hours. It may take me a little bit longer just depending on how busy my week is, but generally speaking, you can expect a reply within 24 hours. Unless it's over the weekend, in which case I may not get to it until the following Monday. And just know that if you send a message after about 5 p.m. during the week, it's likely that I won't see it until the following day. So just keep that in mind. Withdrawal policy. So if you would like to withdraw from the course at any point, say for example, you are just no longer able to continue the course, it's important that you officially withdraw from the course rather than just quit participating. We want to make sure that you're removed from the roster. Special conditions and accommodations. So if you have a disability that requires special accommodations, let me know. This may not necessarily be super relevant for an online course, but still anything that you think I should know to help you learn more effectively in our course, go ahead and send me a message to inform me of that. And we have all the resources here for disabled student programs and services. Student services and resources. This link is just it's a list of all the various resources and things that you may want to check out as a student at Long Beach City College. So that's a link there for you just to kind of check those things out. Course portfolio project. So over the course of our class, over the next 8 weeks, we're going to compose several essays, and at the end of the course, we're going to resubmit those essays in revised form in our course portfolio project. And that portfolio project will serve as the most accurate representation of your growth and learning this semester. And that's going to ultimately be how I base your final grade, in addition to the kind of taking everything in comprehensively. So, but we're going to resubmit those revised essays at the end of the course. And those will be better, improved versions of the essays that you compose this term. So that will be ultimately how I calculate your final grade. Academic integrity. So let me go ahead and read this here. Academic dishonesty is a serious offense and will not be tolerated under any circumstances. If you're suspected of academic dishonesty, you will not only break my heart, injure my faith in humanity, and make me doubt my mission as an educator, which is my life's work. You will receive disciplinary action. This can result in the immediate failure of the project, this course, probationary action, and or expulsion from the college. It's not worth it. It's really not worth the risk to jeopardize your success, right? You all have goals that you've set for yourself. We're all making sacrifices in order to achieve those goals, and so it's really important that we're not doing anything to jeopardize our ability to reach those goals, right? Forms of academic dishonesty, collusion, that means that you're giving your work to somebody else so that they can turn it in as their own. So that's a form of academic dishonesty. Fabrication, that means you're just making stuff up. So in our purpose for our class, that would include making up research or something like that for one of our essays. That's a form of academic dishonesty. And then the one that we're most familiar with is plagiarism, which is the presentation of another person's entities or even generative AI programs' work as your own. So this includes submitting work that has been written by a friend, sibling, spouse, another person whom you may know, or AI programs such as ChatGPT. So all of those things constitute plagiarism, right? And additionally, this is kind of a general college policy. Students may not submit projects for our class that they have submitted in other classes or other semesters. In other words, we can't double count our work. Artificial intelligence policy. As with any technology, there are beneficial and responsible ways of using AI, and there are harmful, detrimental, and dishonest ways of using it. My job as a writing teacher is to help my students grow as readers, writers, and critical thinkers. As this emerging technology grows more common and ubiquitous in our lives, it's important that we understand how to use it responsibly and in ways that will enhance human thinking and creativity, not harm it. So I want to connect this back to the Zadie Smith quotation at the very start of the syllabus. So Zadie Smith says that the very reason I write is so that I might not sleepwalk through my entire life. And we talked about how she's getting at this third aspect of writing, which is a way to help us expand our thinking. Writing is a way that actually improves our thinking, our ability to use our minds. And so if we're outsourcing our writing to these machines, then our brains ultimately are going to atrophy, which means they're going to weaken and no longer be as sharp, right? So writing is a way to help keep our brains sharp and healthy. Human beings make mistakes. I do not expect my students to produce perfect writing. You are all learning how to become better writers. Making mistakes is an essential part of that journey. If you're not confident in your writing ability, join the club. You're in the right place, y'all. You are in this class to build that confidence. No one in this class should feel pressured to use generative AI programs to compose work for them. In addition to this, no student should use AI programs to correct their writing. So things like grammar, syntax, vocabulary, and so on. Things like Grammarly, those are technically AI programs. And so I even don't want you all to use those, okay? Mistakes are okay. It's okay. Your writing does not need to be perfect. What it does need to be is human. So again, I do not expect your writing to be perfect. I expect it to be genuine, thoughtful, and human. In our class, we might use generative AI programs to explore their potential and limitations for enhancing human thinking and creativity. However, using generative AI programs to compose writing that you then submit as your own will not be tolerated. Submitting something that you did not write yourself and claiming it as your own is the definition of plagiarism. This is an irresponsible and dishonest use of this technology, and it is a violation of the policy on academic integrity. So just keep in mind, even though it's kind of different than our typical understanding of plagiarism, it is still the exact definition of what plagiarism is, right? Turnitin.com generates a similarity report for each submission. If a student's similarity report is higher than 25% for a given submission, they will need to revise and resubmit so that their similarity report is no higher than 25%. In addition to generating a similarity report, Turnitin.com uses AI detection tools to identify AI-generated text. With each submission in Turnitin.com, I have access to AI detection tools and information that students do not. Work that is determined to be generated by AI will not be accepted. So in that case, I will request that you resubmit your work so that it's actually yours. Now, I know that, so here Turnitin has increasingly much more sophisticated AI detection tools, but I've been reading student writing for probably 15 to 20 years now. So I understand what human writing, and more specifically what student writing, sounds and looks like. So that's the biggest AI detection tool. Usually I can tell reading the first sentence, I'm like, no human being wrote this. Yeah, so anyway, if your work is determined to be AI, I'm not going to accept it. If you're uncertain about what constitutes academic dishonesty or appropriate use of AI, talk to me. So that's the bottom line. If you're not sure, then send me a message. Talk to me. I'm here to help you all, right? I'm a resource for you. I'm not some sort of, referee, and I'm not trying to bust my students. I'm trying to help my students. I want to help you all become the best human beings that you can be. And so that's a part of it, right? So I want you all to feel comfortable and open. If you're not sure if something could be considered academic dishonesty, let's talk about it and we'll figure it out. All right, the final thing here, assessment and grading. I'm going to pause for a moment. I got to let my cat in here. She's meowing. Hold on. Come on, kitty. Come on. In. Teacher's pet wanting to help. Okay, assessment and grading. In our class, we do not use points, percentages, or letter grades. The only letter grade you will find will come at the end of the semester or the end of our 8-week term when you submit your final course grade to the college. When I submit your final course grade to the college. This means that there are no points or percentage values ascribed to any coursework, and you will not see any points, percentages, or letter grades appear in Canvas. This does not mean that you will not know how you are doing in the course, however. So that's really important to keep in mind. Just because we don't use points, percentages, or letter grades doesn't mean that you're going to be totally left in the dark as to how you're doing in the course. We're just going to use different measures to determine that. For each essay draft that you submit, I will provide feedback and complete an assessment rubric that will indicate how successfully you are meeting the course standards for English 1 on that particular essay submission. For students to succeed in this course, they will demonstrate mastery on a specific number of course standards, each based on one or more of the student learning outcomes designated for English 1. Each course standard will be assessed on a 0 to 4 scale below. So 4 means that the student has exceeded the standard. So not only do they understand the skill and how to do it, but they can do it really well. They've practiced this. It's very clear that they've worked hard in trying to do this as best as they can. A 3 means that the student has met the standard. Overall, they know how to do that particular skill, but there's room for improvement. They can improve how well they do that particular skill. A 2 means that the student has key gaps in their understanding of the standard. So maybe they can do a part of that skill, or they kind of have a general grasp, but they just can't quite meet the requirements of it. And so there's more practice needed. That's what a 2 means. A 1 means that the student is unable to demonstrate 3 or 2 levels without assistance. And a lot of times if something is assessed as a 1, it's probably that the student didn't really try to address that particular skill. That's usually what that means. And a 0 means that there's no submission or nothing for me to assess. There's just nothing for me to determine whether or not the student can do it, right? And then if I put NA, that means not applicable. That might mean that that particular standard isn't applicable for that specific essay draft. Maybe it's a skill that we haven't worked on yet, and so therefore it's not applicable. So that's what I would put there. So yeah, these are not points. They're just numbers that mean these different characteristics, okay? In any learning situation, it is important for a student to be able to make mistakes and learn from them, whether in sports, music, cooking, or a college course. Regular practice is essential to growth. With this vital aspect of learning in mind, students will have multiple opportunities to meet the various course standards throughout the semester. As most students will find, those who engage with the course and actively work toward becoming a better reader, writer, and critical thinker tend to perform better on meeting the course standards. Students who don't practice their skills tend not to do well when attempting to meet the course standards. Regular, purposeful practice, that is, has a direct impact on one's performance. While the various activities and readings and essays we will complete are designed to help students master the skills and concepts necessary to compose sophisticated, college-level writing, students will also have the opportunity to revise any essay submission to improve their performance on the course standards. This opportunity is available to all students in our class. However, students who do not meet the minimum level of competency on a given course standard, indicated by earning a 2 or lower, will need to revise and resubmit their evidence of competency for that given course standard. And so earlier I was talking about the course portfolio project where we're going to revise our essays and resubmit them at the end. This is where you would have that opportunity to revise your essays to try to turn any standards that maybe were assessed as a 2 or lower into a 3 or a 4. That's what we're aiming for. A student's final grade in the course will be based on the combined assessment ratings for the course standards as evidenced in the course portfolio project. So I want to just give you all a little context here. The reason I don't use points or percentages or letter grades anymore, I haven't used them in several years, is because when we are conditioned to think in terms of points or percentages, it means we fixate too much on the outcome. We want to get a passing grade. We want to get a good score. We want to get the good percentage, right? We want as many points as possible. And a lot of times that comes at the expense of actually learning the skill that would, warrant that specific outcome, right? So this is a way for us to get rid of that pressure and to focus on becoming better writers. I want you all to have the freedom to make mistakes and to take risks and to not be penalized if you take a risk on your writing and try something new. I don't want that to kind of harm your success, right? It's just, okay, you tried something new. Oh, did it work? Great. If it didn't work, then try something different, right? That's what I want us to do. And that's especially important for writing, for learning how to become better writers. That's a really important aspect of it. Making mistakes is a part of it. All right, y'all. Well, if you have questions, you can send me a message in Canvas or an email. I'm happy to talk with you further. And I'll catch you all in another video in the future.